Hey guys, I'm super excited about today's video because I have been getting so many questions about how you go through and read your human design chart. And if you've ever printed or pulled up or received your human design chart, you know how overwhelming it feels. You see all these geometric shapes, all these different colors. Some things have colors, some things don't. You see lines, you see all of these different planets, you see all of these different phrases for what's included. And it feels like a gobbly math problem or something in a foreign language. If you've done this or felt this before and can relate, you are in the right place because today what we're going to do is a brief overview on how to effectively read your human design chart, which I am so pumped and so excited for. So let's dive right in. So really quick, if you're new to human design, the best thing that I can say is human design is this ultimate permission slip to come home to yourself. Human design is unlike any other personality test like the Myers-Briggs or Enneagram or anything like that, because human design is who we are designed to be, whereas the Myers-Briggs and the like are who we are conditioned to be, who we become in time because of our different experiences, because of what we've gone through, because of different things like that. Human design shows us exactly who we are. All right. So human design is this scientific approach to better understanding your unique genetic design with detailed information on both the conscious and the unconscious aspects of yourself. Human design provides this accurate picture of how your energy works and how you're supposed to show up and respond in your life. Okay. The more you understand your human design, the better you have access to just coming home to yourself, being yourself. And it helps you to get rid of those like self-defeating patterns because you learn how to make aligned decisions. You learn how to balance your energy. You learn what's right for you, what's wrong for you, all of the things. It helps you to get in touch with what's inherently your strengths versus what you've been conditioned or told that you should be. Okay. And for me, I felt like human design confirmed a lot of things about myself that I didn't ever have the courage or guts to come forward with. So I'm really excited to kind of go over this. So this is what a human design chart looks like. I use Genetic Matrix, which is something I have a membership with. And whenever I'm doing readings with my clients, I always use Genetic Matrix because it talks about so many different pieces. Okay. But there's a lot of different websites that you can go to and pull up your human design chart. Um, like for example, I was certified through Karen Curry Parker. Karen Curry Parker also has an opportunity for you to go to her website and pull up your chart. All right. So this is what a sample chart looks like. And as you can see, the name of it is sample chart because I did not want to share anyone's personal information. So I just picked a random date. I picked a random time and I created like a sample chart that we can use. Okay. So this is no one I know, no client of mine, not myself, no one in my family. I just literally picked a location. Actually, I had my daughter throw out a location that we visited that she loves. And then I picked a date and was decided that's what we're going to use. So it's really fun to be able to look at this human design chart because as you can see, it's exactly what you've probably already seen before. And you're like, oh, I just don't even know what any of this stuff means. But don't worry, by the end of this video, you're definitely going to know exactly what it means. So let's dive right in. As you can see on this chart, one of the first things you are going to notice is all the different colors and all of the different shapes, and we'll kind of break that part down. So right here on the red side, we have the unconscious side, and on the black side, we have the conscious side. So these are the things that you're more consciously aware of. The red side are the things that are unconsciously playing out through your life. You may not be aware of it. And this happens because with human design, when you're getting like a reading, you're pulling up your chart, what you need to know is you need to know your location, like where you were born. For this example, it's Boston, Massachusetts in the States. You need to know the time of when you're born. And the reason that this is important is because all of this stuff is stamped based on the time and location of your birth. Okay. A question that I get often is if you don't know the exact time of your birth, does it impact your chart? It 100% does. But there's a lot of different people that use muscle testing or pendulums and the like to get as close to as possible with their human design birth time. I actually was given an accurate reading due to it being AM and PM, and it changed my chart tremendously. So I'm very picky about knowing your birth time. It's very, very important, and it does make a difference. So once you're born, all of this stuff is stamped. And actually your design side is stamped about 88 to 90 days before you're born. Okay. And this is what determines like the planet placements and all of these different numbers. Okay. And they speak to your channels and your gates, all of the things we'll talk about in a moment. Then we have these arrows right here. So I'm sorry, these are the planets, as I mentioned. And then these different numbers underneath speak to your different gates. Then we have the variables that speak to different parts, such as manifestation and environment and digestion and cognition and things like that. And then we have the different these shapes, the triangles, the squares, things like that. These are your human design centers, okay? And so with the centers, everyone has the same centers, and it doesn't matter what program you use, they may use different colors, but if it is colored, it is considered a defined center. If it is not colored, it is considered either open or undefined, okay? And I'll explain this. Like this little part right here is actually considered fully open because as you notice, none of the numbers have like a red circle around them, okay? So that is actually called your heart center. And in this body graph, the heart center is completely opened, okay? And then this right here is the emotional solar plexus, and this over here is the splenic center. Both of those are considered undefined, and they're considered undefined because they're open, meaning they're white, but they also have different gates that are colored or accessed, all right? So that's a brief overview. We'll go into that a little bit more. So based on looking at your human design chart and the way all of these different centers interact with each other, it determines your type. Some people will say there's 4 types in a human design chart, and then there's 5 types. So I'll go over them. We have a projector, a reflector, manifester, Manny-Gen, and a manifesting generator, okay? And so I'm sorry, and a generator. So generator, manifester, projector, and reflector. Some people say 4 because they'll lump generators and manifesting generators together because this is the action portion of the collective, okay? This particular chart is speaking to generators, which majority of our population is either a manifesting generator or a generator, all right? And they're considered a generator because they have this defined sacral right here, okay? That pink square. Then we have the profile, and the profile is created right up here at the top. So we have the personality and the design. So it's a 2-5, and that's where they come up with the 2-5 profile. We have the definition, which is all about how the centers are speaking to each other. So if you notice, it's a split definition because these 4 top centers, okay, are all connected through this same, like essentially this channel. And then these 2 bottom centers are connected, but these 2 bottom centers are not connected to these 4 centers, okay? So that means half of your body is speaking to each other and the other half of your body is speaking to each other. So you may feel this tug versus like head versus heart, that kind of tug if you're split. Some people are single definition, meaning that all of their centers connect. I'm a single definition, so all of my centers connect and all of my centers speak to each other. We have the incarnation cross, which we'll talk about. We have a strategy, which is all about how you are supposed to show up in life. So as generators, you respond to the things that you're feeling tugged or called towards. We have different themes. So your telltale sign that you're in alignment is when you're satisfied as a generator. The telltale sign when you're out of alignment is your frustration. Let's say, for example, you're a manifester. The telltale sign for you that you're in alignment may look different, and the telltale sign when you're out of alignment may look different. So like for manifestors, for example, is anger. Feeling angry is a red flag that's like, nope, you are absolutely out of alignment. But the green flag that's like, yes, keep going, is you're at peace. So if you see your themes, notice the one that is first, and that is going to be the theme that you want to lean towards. You want to find different signature moments in your day that help you to feel that way, right? And then the other one is you want to stay away from things that contribute to that feeling, okay? So there's that. We talked about design date, which is about 88 to 90 days before you're born. That's when it's stamped. And it doesn't matter if you're premature or anything like that, because ultimately God knew when you were supposed to be born. So that is when it's stamped, okay? And then there's a bunch of other pieces. So we can talk about the brain, the determination, the cognition. We'll talk about some of the general themes that I talk about in human design readings. So that way you don't get overwhelmed, because what I like to say is human design is this beautiful black hole where you fall into it and you realize it goes deeper and deeper and deeper. But as you're going deeper and deeper and deeper, you fall more in love with it, and it starts to make like puzzle pieces fit together. It starts to just make sense for your life. So we'll talk a lot about, or talk briefly about cognition. What that means. Your environment is like that environment where you're just most, like your cognition is your super sense, and your environment is this area where you are supposed to design to work or design to create in a way that feels good so that you get your most productive, your most successful, okay? So let's go ahead and, I'll show you a couple things too while we're on this slide. So these these right here, like the triangles, upside down triangle, the square, those are your human design centers, okay? And I'll break down what each of those are in a moment. Again, these are the variables, these 4 arrows around your head. These are the different planetary placements, red being that you or your unconscious side, black being your conscious side. And it's the same thing here in the chart. If you see a black line, that's where you're more conscious. A red and a black line is like a blend, and then a solid red line would be your unconscious side. The numbers inside of the different channels are your gates, and each of these gates speak to something different. The channels are when 2 gates connect. So for example, gate 43 and gate 23 connect, and that creates the channel 4323. Versus like a hanging gate, gate 17 is hanging because it doesn't have the other side connecting, is what's considered a hanging gate. Okay. And that brings up a different theme too, because really cool fact, if you ever get around someone who has the other side of this gate, so let's say you get around someone that has the 62, it may close that and you may notice things feeling a little different. Or here's an even better example. Right here, down here, the emotional solar plexus is not activated, right? It's not colored. And so that means it's not defined. But if you were to get around someone that had the 19, now your emotional solar plexus would be lit up because your root center right here would connect directly with the emotional solar plexus. So you can actually, cool fact, do connection charts to see where you're connected to people or why people bring different themes about when you're in their energy. When I say energy is everything, I mean energy is everything. I don't know how else to break it down. So your type, based on the 26 different gates that you have in your center, you have defined in your chart, they can make up channels and can define different centers. Remember, I talked about how you could activate that emotional solar plexus, but it's not activated right now, just at your chart. And depending on the combination of centers you have defined or undefined, you will have an overarching type, which is generator, manifester, projector, or reflector, one of the 5 types, okay? Or if you lump together manifesting generator and generator, one of the 4 types, okay? And with your type, you'll also have an authority, right? A strategy. Your strategy is all about making the authority is a strategy is all about making those decisions. Signature is that signature where you're like, yep, this is my telltale sign that I'm in alignment. And then your non-self theme is the red flag sign that you're out of alignment. Okay. And you can figure all of these out right here because like your strategy is right here to respond. Yours might be to ride an emotional wave, whereas your themes are satisfaction and frustration, right? You'll be able to notice those things there, okay? So the variables, we talked about the 4 arrows around your head, and the 4 arrows around your head center, that top triangle that's facing upwards, is an advanced area of the human design system, and it goes very, very in depth. But as a brief overview, basically it helps look at it, your cognitive design and your uniqueness, and variables show you how you experience life. So for example, they talk about your digestion, they talk about your environment, they talk about your awareness, and they talk about your manifestation. So are you an active or a passive digester? Are you a person that needs more of a routine and more of a structure? Or are you a person that kind of just needs to like flow into it? Are you a person that when you set goals needs to be very, very specific, or just needs to get in touch with the feeling of what it is that you want to manifest or bring to fruition? So understanding these help you to also understand how to eat, how to structure your routine, how to manifest and bring your desires to life. Like this stuff is life-changing, all right? Your variable calculation is derived from a combination of both your personality design and your sun and your earth design, okay? As well as your north and your south node. So all of those planets that are on the side of the body graph is what kind of combines to pull us together, because human design is based on like astrology, the Kabbalah, the chakra system, all of these things combine, and it creates this beautiful, intricate system to help you learn yourself, okay? Cool fact is variables are said to be connected to the right and the left hemisphere of the brain, which is also really cool how it comes back to the science piece. So then we have the different centers. So each of the different centers speak to different parts of your life. So the head center, which is the top triangle, is all about inspiration, anxiety, and mental pressure. Then we have the ajna center, which is all about conceptualization. So when I think of the head center and the ajna center, what I think of is the head center is where you have all of your ideas, and the ajna center is like where you pull it together. So if you've ever had a little kid and you put the magnetic letters on the refrigerator, the magnetic letters are just jumbly mess of gobbledygook, right? But then when you spell a word, that's the ajna pulling it together, all right? The throat center is all about communicating and manifestation, so really bringing all of your desires together. Then we have the diamond, which is the self or G center. which is all about self-direction and love. On the left side, we have the spleen, which is all about fear, instinct, immune system, and your intuition, that just deep inner knowing. And then we have right here, this square is the sacral center, which is that renewable energy, which makes this particular person a generator. If you have the sacral defined, you are automatically either a manifesting generator or a generator. Projectors, reflectors, and manifestors do not have the sacral defined, and therefore they often have less access to that renewable energy battery that keeps them going and going and going, that keeps us in this hustle life that we live. And then you have the heart center right here, which is all about ego and willpower. That willpower to drive. Mine is super, super lit up. We have the emotional solar plexus, which is all around emotions and feelings. And then right here at the bottom, this is also a motor center, which gives you a lot of renewable energy. And it's all about adrenaline and stress. Okay. One of the really cool things is if you notice that you have, random fact, if you have that root center defined, it's like a renewable energy battery as well. And so you want to find ways to release that energy, like a high vibe exercise routine that makes you feel energetic and excited and in touch with your ideas and keeping all the energy flowing. Okay. People like me who don't have it defined, I have to be okay with not doing that. And this is where the inaccurate reading really changed my life. And this is just one area, but in my inaccurate reading, it said I had the root center defined. I didn't have it defined. And so I kept buying into these crazy high workouts like insanity and all this stuff. And I was burning out. I was also working a crazy schedule in my business and burning out. All right. This is why it's important to understand your unique human design and creating different things in your life that align with that unique human design. Okay. Super, super important. So when you have an open center, I want to explain this, and this is just like an example. An open center, again, looks like this, where there's nothing colored or defined. An undefined center is like it's white, but then you see this 43 is defined. And then a defined center is like this, where it's colored. And it doesn't matter what color, the colors don't mean anything, all right? So if you have an open center means that you don't have a fixed or consistent way of processing or experiencing different energy. I feel like open centers are beautiful blessings because they're our greatest teachers, and that's where we have a deep source of wisdom. This is why people will say that reflectors are so wise, because if you ever look at a reflector's charts, it is fully white. So it's either open and undefined in all of the centers, and they have a great, they learn a lot, they take in a lot, and they have a lot of wisdom. A big misunderstanding is that people feel like if you have more colored centers, you're in a better position. And that doesn't mean that at all, because there's things to gauge from each. An undefined center is where we observe energy from others and pick up it from the world around us. An undefined center helps you to see others in a unique way, and you can direct their energy with these centers, okay? This helps you to also gain wisdom. Shadows often show up in undefined centers. And they can show up in defined centers as well, but they'll show up when external circumstances cause you to be afraid that you're not enough. So for me, I have an undefined head center. And so sometimes I don't feel like my ideas are enough. And as a manifester, I need to be able to pull my ideas together. I need to be able to present them and share them with the world. I'm supposed to be a fire starter, but sometimes I question if my idea is good enough, right? I question if it's different enough or authentic enough. And that can be a shadow for me in that area. And I've had to do a lot of deconditioning work around that. Then we have defined centers. So when you have defined centers, this is where you pick up on energy from you, others pick up your energy, okay? And you have this consistent feeling around you. So it comes off as more like confident, but it can also be a block because you can be so stern or forward focused in your way of thinking that you may not be open to new ideas, okay? So this is a great place when you have these different defined centers to teach from. So let's say, for example, you have a defined throat. Maybe you're teaching about manifestation or communication, like healthy ways to, maybe you're a speaker and you're teaching other people how to become speakers, right? Blocks often show up in those defined centers, right? And the defined centers is where we generate energy naturally and where we can highly impact other people. And then the blocks that we feel in those centers usually stem from someone else's judgment about our energy or our beliefs about how other people will see us. Okay. And so you'll notice that in your defined centers. So let's break down some of the other pieces that we briefly looked at when we were looking at your chart. So channels are linking the centers. So they link two different gates together and they allow that flow of energy. Okay. And these are where the gates are activated and they create that channel. If the channel is red, it's unconscious and you may not always recognize that you have access to that. If it's black, it's more conscious. Each channel delineates a specific theme or essential aspect of experiencing life as a human being. Okay. And if you have a defined channel, it's a gift because it's consistent consistent and it's reliable. You can access it all the time, especially if it's Black, because you're aware of being able to access it. The red side is more of like other people see it and you're like, oh, I didn't even know that they noticed that. And then we have the gates. There's 64 gates in the human design, and gates are different energy entry points, okay, and exit points. So this is how energy kind of exits and enters different human design energy centers. We have the profile. So there are different profiles, but the profile is basically the sun and the earth planets. Remember when I showed you that when we were looking at the body graph, and it's the sum of each other, okay? And they define who you are. It's the part of the profile is how other people see you, and part of the profile is how you see yourself, okay? So, and there's, I think, 12 different type of profiles. So like, for example, there's a 1-3, a 4-6, a 6-2, things like that. And you'll notice your profile in your human design body graph. Then we have the incarnation cross, which is a beautiful picture of the unique form that your life is supposed to take, the way that you are supposed to express your life. We have environment, which is what you receive by creating a conducive environment for your success. Now, the key thing here with environment is it's not always traditional. So like, for example, I just did a reading for someone who had the shores environment. And the shores environment is not that you need to physically work on a beach. It means that you might need to be in between two different areas. So you may sit between your office and your kitchen because you're kind of blending between two different areas, and that's conducive for your success, okay? So it's not always the actual thing, it's the idea of it. Markets environment is another one. You don't necessarily need to work in a market, but you may need to work where there's hustle and bustle, like a Starbucks or something like that. Cognition is your super sense, which helps your body gather energetic information. So it could be touch, it could be taste, it could be smell, and understanding these different ways that it plays off. And then your definition is your defined centers and how they talk to each other, and essentially how the different energies connect. Okay, so that is a brief overview. Oh my goodness. And I could go on and on and on and on and on and talk about human design. There's so many pieces, there's so many layers, because you can do the connection charts where you figure out how your two charts, your chart connects with you and a partner, or you and a friend, or you and a business, like one of your business partners. You could do a business human design reading about like how your business interacts with you. There's all these pieces, and human design is just beautiful. It's a beautiful way for you to better understand yourself. So if this brief overview blew you away and you want to take your human design journey to the next level, you want to know specifically how this applies to you, specifically what your channels mean, specifically how you can leverage it, specifics about how you can decondition and really come home to yourself, right? Specifics about a daily routine and signature moments that you can incorporate into your life. I challenge you to join me by scheduling your very own personalized human design reading. It is absolutely life-changing. So you can schedule that by heading to bit.ly/HD reading now, as you see on your screen. I could rant and rave about this all day. But if you go to the page, you're going to see some of the results that people have gotten, the testimonials and feedback that they've given me because of the amazing results that they received through getting their human design reading and how transformational it was. And I'm really excited to be able to do that for you. So I look forward to being able to do your human design reading, and I trust that you're going to have a great remainder of your day.